The Dried Flower Co. started as an idea in January 2019. I was back home in Australia, wandering through my hometown with a friend, discussing all sorts of creative things, because that's what we like to do. At some point during our conversation, the topic of dried flowers came up. No doubt after seeing them in a store somewhere. They were and still are a very big trend in Australia. I must have said something about dried flowers being fairly non-existent in New Zealand, to which my friend replied, "Why don't you start doing dried flowers over there?" A few weeks later, back in New Zealand, the journey began. I started picking flowers and experimenting with drying and arranging them, and now 18 months later, it has evolved into a business, which to be honest, has been quite a surprise.
Annelyse, you're the owner of Dried Flower Co. Thank you so much for being with us today. As the owner of Dried Flower Co., can you please tell us about your business and what you do?
So basically, drying flowers is a way of preserving flowers so that they last longer than your average week or two. So I dry them and I do arrangements, so just like a bouquet of flowers. I also make wreaths. I do installations, which are sort of bigger, more elaborate artistic pieces, which are for homes and commercial spaces.
So you said dried flowers were really popular in Australia. Is this something that you had done before in Australia, that you had skills in, that you knew how to do, and that's helped you kind of start this business over here? Or is it something that you've had to start from the bottom and completely upskill in order to start this business?
I have no experience in flowers at all. So it has been completely new, and I am self-taught, I guess you could say. So, yeah, I studied fashion design, so yeah, totally different.
Wow. And how has that studying fashion design helped you in this business, if it has helped at all?
Well, I guess in the sense that you have an understanding of how things go together, and working with your hands and making things with your hands, and yeah, making things work.
Make things look cool.
Yeah,
I understand that. That's really cool. At what point did you realize that you fully wanted to pursue this dream of running this business?
It was probably after maybe one or two products sold, and I thought, oh wow, people are actually willing to pay for what I'm making. So that was quite encouraging and motivating, I guess.
What part does social media have to play in the success of your business?
Oh, like 100%.
100%. How so?
So I started by selling pieces on Instagram, and I would say 95% of all my sales have come from Instagram, and maybe a 5% Facebook. And just doing different promotions and giveaways and things like that.
On the topic of generosity, how big a part has generosity played in the success of your business? Because I know a big aspect of your business is blessing others, helping out those in need, and actually lifting up other business people. How big a part has generosity played in your success?
I think people probably relate to it, the kind of more human element. You're not just a business trying to sell stuff to people all the time, but you're actually a person who cares about people. And I think with Instagram and businesses, you're kind of wanting to engage with people and build an audience that really, I suppose, resonate with you and relate to you. And so I think that really helps.
Was it really hard work to get this business on its feet? What did the start of your business look like? Was there lots of work involved?
As I said, it has been quite a surprise, this business. I just came back from Australia at the beginning of last year, as I said, and just started kind of dabbling in dried flowers. And I made a few pieces and put them on Instagram. And slowly, but also really quickly, it has just become a really popular thing. And I think it's because I was probably one of the first people who's done it over here in New Zealand, but the trend is becoming prevalent, if that makes sense. So it was kind of a matter of good timing. I feel like I've just caught that wave a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a long-term vision for where this business could go or what it could become? Or is it just day by day?
I'd say that it's very much an evolving thing, because it certainly has gone to places that I didn't expect it to. So it's changing, and I'm trying to envision where it's going to go, but I'm still trying to figure that out.
So what's your favorite thing about running a business, running your own business?
Working for yourself is the best. No schedule, you just do life on your own terms. I love that.
So what's been a highlight so far of running the Dried Flower Co?
I think just watching it evolve from something that was essentially an idea that came out of nowhere into a business where people actually buy what I make. That's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
It is super cool. What would be the most important piece of financial advice you could give youth today?
I think learning to make money work for you rather than you work for money is probably a really smart thing to do, and educating yourself about finances and yeah.
How would you define a successful business? Have you reached your goal for success, or are you still chasing after what you believe success is?
Have I achieved success through this business yet? No. I've certainly had a lot more sales than I anticipated, but I've spent almost the same amount on the business. So, yeah, there's a lot to learn, and we're still on the journey to success, I would say.
Is there anything that you wish you knew when you were starting out a business that you could tell someone now who is looking to start their own business?
Learning about social media and social media marketing, I feel like that's probably one of the keys, or particularly for my kind of business, like a creative business. Instagram works really well for my product. And so I think, learning a bit more of the strategy and being a bit more smart about it is probably a really key thing to do.
If you could give one piece of business advice for young people dreaming of starting their own business, what would that advice be?
You just have to start. And I know people say that all the time, but just start doing something, and it doesn't matter if you're not onto the right idea. I tried lots of little businesses and lots of little things, and heaps of them didn't work, but eventually this one happened and it worked. So yeah, I think you just have to do something and keep trying.
Just have to start.
Yeah.
Take the risk.
Yeah.
That's a really great piece of advice. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us to make this video, and thank you for the advice that you've brought and the knowledge that you brought to the table. I'm sure many people will find this really enlightening, and I'm sure many people will be inspired by the work you're doing. So thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
It was Annelyse from the Dried Flower Co.